I want to point out something hopeful about the Bondi shooting, or the aftermath, because the event is horrific. But what's beautiful is last night I was on the social medias, and everywhere there is men, young men, old men, men coming out and not only putting down what happened, calling these men, this father and son who shot these people, cowards, but none of them were calling for violent retribution. They were saying, take this shit, and this is Muslims and Christians, everyone, take this shit back to your own country and fight it over there. And if you're Australian born and you really hate what's going over there, well, go over there and fight. But don't bring it to the safe haven of Australia. Don't bring it here. This is what I saw men, Australian men, saying on social media last night. But this morning I wake up to Albanese going about, he's not talking Islamic terrorism, he's talking about right-wing extremists. And he's using this opportunity to bring in more control. But let me show you what right-wing extremism looks like. Okay, this happened on the streets in Melbourne when people were protesting about taking the jab. These Australian cops, I don't know who you are, mate, I hope you're really proud of yourself. These were shooting ordinary citizens who just had questions about the jab. I got shot by them. This was the morning of the shrine. This is why we went to the shrine, for a safety, because people like this, there are two of these on the streets, were shooting us. Now, if you came across this and you're protesting because you just have some questions about our freedoms being taken away, would you think this is Australia? Because when I went to court, I showed this picture to the magistrate. I was fined for being at a protest, and when I showed him this, the magistrate was in despair. He actually said to the prosecutor, "This is King Street?" And he let me off, basically. Australians aren't right-wing extremists. There's a group of Australians now, a growing group of Australians, who have serious questions. Why are we broke when we're sitting on all this mineral wealth? Why is our Prime Minister and the Labor government getting behind drag queens, teaching basic reading stories to kindergarten kids? Most Australians are against this. But if you question it, you're a right-wing extremist. Deny climate change. Oh, you're a climate change denier. You're a right-wing extremist climate change denier. Even though Bill Gates, the architect of climate change, or one of the architects, has just come out and said it's not a problem for the foreseeable future. Still, they push it. And we're the right-wing extremists. Going through these country towns, they have hospitals in major towns that don't have a doctor. Not a single doctor. And the people are too frightened to complain. They whisper it to us, like, we don't have a doctor. And do you know why they're frightened to complain? Because if they complain, they get called a right-wing extremist. But the hospital doesn't have a doctor. And then The Voice. Anybody who dared to vote no, you're a racist. That was the whole marketing campaign. And 60% or more of Australians voted no. And you still bring it in. In Victoria, they're still bringing it in. They're basically going, F you to the people, we're going to do what we want to do. And we're the right-wing extremists. Then the Prime Minister wanted to bring in hate speech laws, basically trying to silence anyone who thought that maybe an Australian government shouldn't use paramilitary units against peaceful Australian protesters. How dare you protest against something that we've decreed, you right-winger? So in the eyes of the Prime Minister and all his cronies, I'm one of these right-wing podcasters, someone that has to be silenced. But let me show you how I became it, because I was just being a playwright doing my thing. But you know how I became it? I was born here. These are the fathers of my new destiny, the fathers of Cafe Lockdown. But you know who the mother was? That armoured car was down the street. I'd already been shot. I'd been shot in the hand, and I was coming down the street. They were still behind us shooting Australians, and then I came across a news reporter doing a live. It was a young woman. I don't know if she was Channel 9, Channel 10, maybe ABC, I don't know. She had a mask on. Her hand was trembling as she was trying to do the live. The cameraman, he was in tears. He was just looking to me in stunned tears. And that was down the street. They could both see it. It was a Pulitzer Prize winning picture. They could have turned the camera and stopped everything. everything could have stopped. People around Australia would have gone, what, you got an armoured vehicle in the street? Are you kidding? It would have stopped it. And did these reporters go back to Channel 9, Channel 10, ABC and actually report on that? No. You know what they did? They called us right-wing extremists. They went home and they called the people who were running for their lives from these guys, and whoever you are, you portray everything good about Australia and portrayed us as right-wing extremists, and it's still going. It's still going. You have a government who is out of control, who has lost sight of what Australia is, or for some other reason. We did not shoot those people in Bondi. This was Islamic terrorism. And it's not every Muslim. Most Muslims just want to live here in peace. Most Jews want to live here in peace. Most Australians want to live here in peace. This is Islamic terrorism. That's what it is. And you know it. And you know it. And you're just trying to lob us in with it. You are causing more division. As a Prime Minister living, you're scared of climate change and you buy a oceanfront mansion and you're scared of us. You're causing division. That's what you're doing. And you're supposed to be an Australian leader.